What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We are back with another ugly NBA slate. Just by glance, the slate does not look the best, I'm going to be honest, but we're still going to talk about these games. We're still going to go over my favorite player props for this slate and hopefully have a green day. That being said, I do have to pick a winner from yesterday's video to win a free month of our VIP. As long as this video gets 250 likes, I will select another random comment down in the comments to win a free month. So make sure you guys smash the like button, drop a comment. You do have to be a subscriber to win, so hit that sub button if you haven't subscribed already, and let's go ahead and pick our winner from yesterday. So the winner is going to be for our man Jeff Nanstjul, who said, "Money, let's do this." Well, Jeff, send me a message on Discord, man. I'll get you added for that free month. I do appreciate the love and support from every single one of you guys. And let's take a look at our bet tracker for the day. So yesterday, player props for me were ugly. I know these player props in the last two free pick videos have not been good. We have split every single slip. These slips, the pairings are bad, and I've got to get my pairings a little bit better on these parlay play slips. So I'm going to be a little bit more selective on who I run together. Looking at our bet tracker from yesterday, we profited $432. So money lines went really, really good for me. I've been absolutely crushing these NBA money lines lately. We're up $6,200 on the month so far. So looking at my money lines yesterday, I ended up running just the Cavs and the Hawks. Those are the only two money lines I personally played. To one unit on each one. We got the Hawks for plus money that won, and then we had the Cavs for like minus 130 that won. And I'm going to show you guys since my birthday. So my birthday was on the 19th. These are all the sportsbook / money line plays I've ran since the 19th. You can see we only missed one. So I've only missed one. I've been killing it. I've had Bucks, Sixers, Pistons, Suns, Kings, Raptors, Hawks, Cavs. All these except for two are going to be NBA. I had one college basketball play that I played, and then I had one college football that I ran. And we've been crushing it. Here's those slips. So I cashed Hawks last night. You can see plus 101. Cashed it. Cashed Cavs last night minus 139. That was green. Cashed the Suns day before, cashed the Pistons the day before. Then 2 days ago we had Sixers, OKC, we had the Bucks, and then there's supposed to be another slip in here somewhere. But either way, you guys get the gist. We've been killing these money lines. If you guys want to get every single one of these plays, every single bet that I personally play, you'll see me post. You can join our Discord. Link to the Discord is down in the description. Now, first of all, the Discord is free to join. You can join the Discord, join the community, chat with whoever you want. It's a great community. We'd love to have you a part of it. If you want to get all the plays, you do have to go through WAP. It's either $10 a week or $25 a month if you do the monthly, but you can get 20% off using code NBA. So if you guys need help with that, you can let me know. If you want to get all the plays, they're in the Discord. And let's go ahead and talk about these this slate, So this slate's ugly, guys. There are going to be a couple games. I'm just going to go ahead and put a big fat X on. I'll go ahead and X those off immediately. Nuggets, Wizards, too many unknowns right now for both teams. Injuries everywhere. Especially on the Wizards side of things. You got Bagley questionable, Calibli questionable, A.J. Johnson questionable, Middleton's questionable. They're missing Vukcevic, missing Cam Whitmore, missing Trae Young. So Wizards missing a lot of players. Still a lot missing from Denver, but they've been playing without these players for a lot. Now, Joe Val is questionable. He may be back tonight. I'm not sure. But regardless for that, this game's too ugly for me to want to put money on. I'm not even going to touch player props because, in my opinion, if all these players from the Wizards don't play, it could get very ugly. So I'm just going to fade these teams with a lot of injuries until we get better injury news. So not going to talk about this game. The next one for that we need to talk about is going to be the Spurs and the Jazz. The Jazz are missing all kinds of players. Spurs missing a few, missing Cornette potentially, missing Jones Garcia, who's questionable, and then Devin Vassell is also out. On the Jazz, they're missing Keontae George, potentially. Missing Harkless, missing Markkanen again, missing Niang, missing Sensabaugh, or potentially missing Sensabaugh. A lot missing from this Utah Jazz team. They're going against one of the best teams in the league. It could potentially be a blowout, so we're not going to talk about that game. Clippers, Lakers, we can talk about. I will say on this game, there's not much the biggest deciding factor on who you run in this game is going to be Kawhi. If Kawhi plays, he takes so much usage away from the rest of the players that you can't make a decision with him being questionable, is what I'm going to say. Because if he's questionable, you can run Harden, you can run Zubac. If he's not questionable and he plays, these lines that they have for Harden and Zubac are probably not going to be the greatest lines you want to take. You're going to want him to, you'll get better value if he's rolled in. So really want to fade this game as well in terms of player props, and I'll be waiting for injury news on that one. And then that's pretty much the only ugly games I believe on this slate. So let's talk about the games that aren't ugly. So the first one we have is going to be the Rockets versus the Sixers. So Philly is plus 122 underdogs at home, a 1.5 spread with a 221.5 total. Most of the money is going to be on the Rockets. Now, That being said, taking a look at these teams, the Rockets have been playing very good basketball. They've won 4 of the last 5 games, whereas the Sixers have lost 3 of their last 5. They've only beat the Pacers, and they beat the Raptors. Now, looking at Houston, they are missing Steven Adams again. They're missing Van Vliet. They got Aaron Holiday, who is questionable. On the Philly side of things, it's the same thing as usual. You got Embiid and you got Paul George, both questionable and probable. They're always on the injury news. They sit every other game for the most part. I think they're going to play this game. It's a big game for them at home in Philly. So I'm expecting them to come out here and play. Now, this is a game that can really go either way. One thing I'm looking at is how bad this Houston team has been on the road. They've lost 4 straight games on the road. And to me, it's time for them to get a win on the road. And they've lost to the Kings, they lost to Portland twice, and they lost to Dallas. So these aren't strong teams that's beat them at home. So for me, the Sixers, even at home, they've been struggling. They're kind of yo-yo winning. They win every other game for the most part. So I'm willing to put some money on Houston. The problem that scares me is where the money is at right now. A lot of money is on the Rockets, and this being a coin flip game, I could see the Sixers winning this game. So I'm not sure where my head's at right now on this one. As of this moment, I'm leaning the Rockets, but my mind could change before tonight. So I'm going to run it through some other sources that I have to see what they think as well. One of them being my pops. You guys know my dad is in the Discord as well. He helps run all these plays with me. And I'm going to see what his opinion is, and I'll go from there. But for me, right now, I am locking it, or I'm thinking Houston. If you think the Sixers win, then honestly, trust your gut on that one. Player props for this game, looking at KD. Looking at potentially Maxey. The thing about Maxey is if Embiid plays, then Maxey he honestly doesn't get nearly as much shot volume. So you got to be careful with that as well. But I do like KD tonight. All right, so next game on the slate, Magic versus Hornets. Now, this game could get ugly. You got the Hornets on a back-to-back. Magic are almost fully healthy, and they're playing at home. Magic minus 213 favorites, 6.5 on the spread, and 228.5 total. Most of the money, for good reason, is going to be on the Magic. I think the Magic win this game. There's not much I really need to go over on this one. Plumlee and KJ Simpson are missing for Hornets. They just got beat by the Cavs, and they were getting blown out the entire game. The Cavs were up like 30 points at one point, almost sold the win. And I had Cavs money line, as you guys saw, so I started getting a little bit worried, but Cavs ended up beating them. Traveling to Orlando. Orlando is only missing Castleton and potentially Jalen Suggs. Suggs is questionable. They do have both the Wagner brothers back. They got pretty much all their team back for the most part. So I'm okay with this Magic team against this honestly mediocre Charlotte team. Charlotte has played well on the road. They have won 5 of their last 7 games, but you got to look at the Magic at home. The Magic have won 68% of their games at home, whereas Charlotte's only won 38% on the road. So definitely a better home team than the Hornets are on the road. I like the Magic tonight. I think even if the Magic were playing in Charlotte, they're going to win this game tonight, especially with the Hornets being on a back-to-back. So give me Magic money line. Minus 213 is a little bit too juiced. You can play around with the numbers a little bit, maybe parlay them if you want and get plus money. But for me, it's the Magic all day. Next game on the slate is going to be the Mavericks versus the Warriors. This one could be ugly. I'm not going to lie. Golden State, obviously, no more Jimmy Butler. Seth Curry's out. Gary Payton is questionable. When you look at Dallas, they're missing our man. I'm not even going to attempt to say their name. Some of these players, when I try to say their name, I get tongue-tied. We're just going to miss this one. So we're going to call MC. We got MC questionable. We got Anthony Davis out. We got Gafford, who was questionable. And we have Kyrie and Lively, who's been out the whole season for the most part. So most of the players that have been missing are back. The biggest one being Anthony Davis being out. That's the biggest milestone this Dallas team has to, or I ain't gonna say milestone, but biggest hump in the road, whatever you want to call it, this team's facing right now, is when they had AD, they were playing very good. And you can see they've won 60% of their last 10 games. They've won a lot of the games lately, but AD has been playing in half of those games. Now, the last, I think, 3 games AD hasn't been in, they've won. So they've been doing better. They beat the Knicks. They beat the Jazz twice. The Jazz being 2 of those games doesn't really it's not a strong resume, whereas the Knicks they beat the Knicks in New York, so that's a good win for them. Now, do I think they're going to beat Golden State? I kind of doubt it. I think they're live dogs. I think they have a chance, especially Golden State missing Butler, but Golden State's still a good team. They've been playing very good as well, and with Draymond and Curry in, I'm pretty sure Golden State has enough to be able to beat this Mavericks team on the road. So that's my personal opinion. Give me Golden State minus 190. If you like the Mavericks plus 188, I think you should just lock it in because I do think they are live dogs. That's my personal opinion. Most of the money right now is honestly, it's about a 50-50 split, so that's not really that bad. Next game on the slate is going to be the Timberwolves versus the Bulls. Minnesota is minus 335 at home, a 9.5 spread, and a 239.5 total. Very fast-paced game. Most of the money is going to be on Timberwolves money line, and then you got more than 50% going to be on the Bulls plus 9.5. Taking a look at these two teams, Timberwolves have lost 3 straight games. They have got beat by Houston, they have got beat by the Spurs, and they have got beat by the Jazz. So this team has lost against 2 of the strongest teams in the league, and then lost versus one of the weakest teams in the league. So Timberwolves been kind of struggling a little bit. Look at the Bulls. The Bulls have won 3 of their last 4, beating the Jazz, the Nets, and the Clippers. The Clippers being a blowout win their last game. Now, the Bulls have been facing a lot of injuries as well. Josh Giddey is questionable. They're missing Zach Collins still. Then you got Patrick Williams questionable. Minnesota's only missing Terrence Shannon. So in terms of health reasons or healthiness, Minnesota definitely wins. Minnesota's definitely the better team in my opinion, and they're playing at home. So it's hard for me to want to take the Bulls here. The Bulls, or Minnesota, has lost to some teams they should have beat. So this is the NBA. We know how these games go. The Bulls could come out here and blow out Minnesota. It definitely could happen. Do I think it's going to happen? Majority of games, the Timberwolves, they're going to win. So give me Timberwolves again tonight. Minus 335. You can't really play them. If you pair that with like the Magic or something, you might be able to get decent enough odds to lock in. But for me, give me Minnesota tonight. Give me Anthony Edwards having a good game. Potentially Gobert has a good game versus Vucevic. And then you got potentially Julius Randle on the Minnesota side of things. Looking at the Bulls side of things, not really many players I look at. Maybe Kobe White. It really just depends on what happens with Josh Giddey. So Josh Giddey being the main factor on whether or not I run Bulls players or not. Next game on the slate, told you we're going to fade. We're going to fade the Jazz and the Spurs. Then I'm actually going to fade the Lakers and the Clippers until we figure out about Kawhi. Let's go ahead and talk about Miami versus the Trailblazers. So Portland versus Miami, and I didn't mean to click that. I meant to click the public betting. So right now you got Portland minus 108 at home, 1.5 spread, 239.5 total, fast-paced game. 54% of the money on Portland money line, 57% on Miami plus 1.5. Now looking at these two teams, both teams have played okay lately. Miami's won 3 of their last 5. They ended up beating the Kings. They beat OKC in one of those games, and they beat the Suns. So a couple of those games have been strong. And I'll be honest, that win versus the Kings is a pretty good win as well, because the Kings had been playing basketball very well, and they had won like 3 or 4 in a row when they played against Miami, and Miami gave them that L. So the Kings were on fire. So beating the Kings there, I'll give that to them as well. Now they did lose to Golden State and to the Celtics. They got blown out by Golden State. Looking at the Trailblazers, they've won 3 straight games. They beat the Kings, they beat the Lakers, and they beat the Hawks. They beat some okay teams. I wouldn't say great teams. They did lose back-to-back games versus the Knicks and Golden State. But before that, they were on a 5-game win streak. This team at home, they have won, 9 of their last 10 games, something like that. What was that, 5, 7 of their last 8 games, whatever, I can't count. 7 of their last 8 games at home. Miami has lost 4 of their last 5 on the road. So Miami is not a road team. They are definitely a home team. They struggle on the road. Miami's missing Tyler Hero still. Rozier's still gone. Then you got Ware, who is questionable as well. Now Portland, you got I'm just going to fade his name. We got Grant questionable, Henderson out, Drew Holiday's questionable. You got Chris Murray out, Thibault's out, Blake Wesley's out, Robert Williams is questionable. So missing a lot of players on this Portland team. Most of their starting 5 is in. Miami's got pretty much their entire starting 5 other than Hero. Ware is questionable as well, but still, most of the team pretty much healthy on their starting 5. So we're good to go there. I think Miami... For plus money, I'm willing to run Miami. This is a tough game. This game could go either way. Head-to-head, Portland lost their last game, which was like this season. The game before that, they won, and the game before that, they lost. So Miami's actually won 2 of their last 3 versus Portland. The only game in Portland, Miami won, and that was from last season, back on the January 11th of last year. So Miami, I think, is going to come out here and get a win. This is a game that could go either way as well. I'm leaning Miami, but Portland is a strong team at home, and like I said, it could go either way for sure. So this game's going to be good for player props. I do like Norman Powell here, and we'll go ahead and talk about some player props here in just a second. But that being said, that's what I've got for these games, guys. It's a really ugly slate. You really just have to wait for all this to all these injury news and stuff to be confirmed before locking in on this slate. It's not a great one, so I recommend don't go super heavy. I'm giving you guys one slip today, and then I'm giving you one of those like risky slips that we can run as well. So let's go ahead and lock them in. Let's talk about our player props for today. So that being said, Before we jump into these slips, if you guys do want to get a free month of our VIP, you can sign up for any partnered app down in the description. There are 7 apps in the description. If you sign up for any of those 7 apps, you get a free month of VIP for each one that you sign up for. So you can get up to 7 full months for free. The one I push the most, Parlay Play. Parlay Play is my favorite app to play on. They give you a $5 free bet if you use code FANTASYACES when you sign up. So you get $5 for free. You get a deposit match up to $100. And you'll get a free month of VIP if you sign up for Parlay Play. So if you don't have it, it's a no-brainer. Sign up for it. Lots of promos on here that you can choose from every single day, and highly recommend it. So that's down in the description. One more app that I'm using right now is called Upside Tools. Upside Tools is an optimizer. What it does is it takes all of our plays from our apps like Prizepicks, Underdog, Parlay Play, and it compares them directly across every single platform for the most part. So you can see, this is the player props optimizer. I got Prizepicks selected, and I got it filtered for NBA. And you can see it's running these props like Brandon Prizepicks pods for under 5 rebounds. It's got a 57% chance to hit, and it's running this against every single book. It goes by where these books have the value at. So all these books have it at 4.5, and you got some books that's like, for example, Underdog minus 119 to go under 4.5. So you get a better value on Prizepicks. Here's another good one. Under 5.5 is a minus 175 on, what is that, BetMGM. So under 5.5, minus 175, you're getting the same value for a push for the most part. So it's a very good value on here. You can pull them up. I've already looked at it. It was 5. I don't know if it's been refreshed. Prizepicks 5 rebounds right here. You get on every other app, for example, Parlay Play. It's going to be 4.5, so you can't even get that 5 line. You can't go under 5.5 either. So the value is definitely there on Prizepicks. You can do this across the board. You can pick the app you want and find all the great value. If you guys want to try this out for 5 days for free, there is a promo code down in the description. Use code ACES when you sign up. You get a 5-day free trial, and you get 25% off your first month. So if you want to try Upside Tools, links in the description. Let's go ahead and talk about these free picks for today. So the first slip the first play that I want to run on today's slip is going to be for our man Kevin Durant. So we're taking KD, Durantula. We got him over 19.5 points. Now looking at this line, it's a 1.36x to be boosted. So I'm going to check this on Prizepicks, and we're going to make sure the value is actually better on Parlay Play. So we got Durant for 19.5. We'll go ahead and pull him up. Durant, you guys know, is good for 20 points. He's hooked the last couple of games, but he's taking 18 to 20 field goal attempts per game. 19.5 is not a big line for him. He's cashed 7 of his last 10. He's missed 3 games. 3 of his last 4 he's missed. He shot 23 shots in this game versus OKC. Shot 30%. With 23 field goal attempts, you should get 20 points. So that's a fluke in my opinion. Same thing here. 18 field goal attempts, 18 points. Fluke in my opinion, he shot 28%. This game, he had 18 points, and he only shot 12 field goal attempts. So the last game he played, he just didn't attempt very many shots. You give him 5 more shots, you think he doesn't make 1 more? So KD for this line is always good. He's cashed at 82% on the season. Head-to-head, he's been over both games versus Philly. It's going to be a competitive game more than likely. They could win. They could lose this game. Like it's coin flip. So give me KD for 20 points. I like that line a lot. It's honestly one of my favorite promos that Parlay Play has right now. Who am I going to pair him with? The first one's going to be for our man Norman Powell. I like Norman Powell. He's been a wagon for us this season. His line is very, very elevated now. We used to get very good value for him at 24.5. 24.5 PRA is now like a 1.2x. So looking at Norman Powell, 24.5. He's cashed 8 of his last 10. He's cashed it 82% on the season. He's cashed it 100% of games versus Portland. He's cashed 4 straight games, 27 and 31 in his last 2 games. The only game this season, he had 27. So they're missing Tyler Hero again. Without Tyler Hero, obviously, Norman Powell's been over 83% of games. So that's a huge increase in usage. Dude is averaging 17 field goal attempts per game. He's had 16 in the last 4 or more. So been playing very well. 24.5 is a good line for him. And this line he cashes almost every single game. So let's pull up Norman Powell. And you guys can see his original line right now is 29.5. We're going to get him at 24.5. This gives us a 1.65x. So we need one more play to make this slip playable. Who am I going to throw in for that last play? I ended up going with our man Julius Randle. So let's take a gander at Julius Randle. So the first thing about Randle that I will say is his original line is boosted on Parlay Play. So let's come down here. 19.5 points is a 1.48x. I'm buying him down because this line's sweaty. He can get 20 points in a game. It's sweaty. Now, it's a good matchup versus Chicago, fast-paced game, but this line, if this game gets ugly, he's probably not going to cash. But 14.5 is very safe. This puts us at that 1.87x, puts us close enough to that double up where I'm willing to play it. So we're going to lock this in. But Julius Randle for 14.5 points. 100% of his last 10 games, he's averaging 23 points per game. and he's cashed it 91% of games on the season. So this is a line where Randall is very comfortably going over. Very, very seldom does he go under this line. He had 17 and 22 in his last 2 games versus Chicago. They give up more points than about any other team in the league. It's a good matchup. He's averaging 16 field goal attempts, so 15 points should be pretty free for our man Randall. That's in quotes right here, guys. Should be pretty free. It definitely could chalk. So remember that we're gambling, so it's always going to happen. This is not financial advice by any means, but let's go ahead and lock this slip in. So that's going to be our first slip. Now, I will say, when we lock in the second slip, it's going to be one of our like 5 or 6x slips that we've been doing every day. All I'm going to do is swap these plays, and I'm going to go with a normal line, and I'm going to put half a unit on it. So let's go ahead and do that. We got Durant, Randall, and Powell. So let's pull up Durant first. Durant's normal line, I'm running at 23.5 points. If he gets 20, he only needs 2 more buckets. He can definitely give us 24. Durant can drop 30 any game. It really just depends on how the game's going. So I'm hoping that the game script goes in favor for our man KD. Also, we're going to go ahead and run the boost for Randall. So that's going to give you 2 plays right there, automatically a 2.5x. Then we just go in, we throw in Norman Powell. We throw in his original line at 29.5 PRA. And this gives you a 4.5x. So if you put in $125 on this, it's going to win you 571. This is sweaty. Norman Powell is honestly probably my least favorite of these 3, to be honest with you, just because I think the matchup is a little bit rougher. But they are missing Hero. Norman Powell, let's pull it up here at 30 because he can definitely get it. He has a decent hit rate on this line at 29.5. He's cashed it 4 of his last 10, but he's cashed it 53% on the season, so more than half of the games. Now, we've got games without Tyler Hero. He's been over right at 50%. He's averaging right at 31 PRA. A couple of these games he's hooked. So it's not going to be one of those super free props by any means. It's definitely going to be sweaty. I do think that he can cash this line versus Portland. He's been over this in every game except for 1 versus Portland. So I do expect our man Norman Powell to have a decent game tonight. So that being said, I'm willing to risk it. We're going to risk half a unit. I'm not going super heavy on this for a reason. If you can only play 1 slip, play the safer one. If you these slips that are like 5x are hard to hit compared to these. Like this one could cash easy and then this one still miss. And it's the same 3 players. We're just playing the better line. So we've got normal lines versus alt lines. I'm doing this strictly for YouTube. I have not been doing this in over the last year and a half on my player props. So I do not have a hit rate on this. I can't tell you if I'm going to be profitable playing all these original lines or not. I've been doing double ups. Double ups is where my bread and butter is. It's where I make all my money. So that's what I like to continue to do. This 5x per day for me, I'm happy with doing. I'll risk half a unit every single day. That's not a big deal. If I do a 10x slip, it'll probably be a quarter unit, but for a 5x or more, or 4x or whatever, I'm willing to risk half a unit. 125 for 570, those are there. If you want to lock them both in, lock them in. If you want to fade both of them, fade both of them. That's what I have for today, guys. Join the Discord if you haven't already. We would love to have you guys in there. Sorry for the missing free picks. I know they've been bad lately. Even the days that the free picks are bad does not mean that the VIP picks are bad. I have to pick 3 player props to give on the video, and sometimes it's hard to just give like your 3 favorite props because there might be 6 or 7 props that I like on the board. And I try to give you guys my favorite ones in the free picks, but sometimes your favorite aren't always the ones that's going to cash. But that's what I got for today. Hope you guys have an awesome day. Hope you guys enjoy your day, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video.